Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. First tonight, poor weather has forced the closure of a COVID testing facility, while staff at sites across the state face abuse daily. Labor is describing the government's handling of COVID as out of control, with 751 new cases today. Millions of rapid antigen tests are set to land in Tasmania, but some say it's of little use to those that need them now.
The boom gate closed and no one in sight. Bad weather causing the Youngtown testing facility to shut, forcing Tasmanians to use a rapid antigen test instead, if they can get their hands on one.
The rapid antigen test is going to be acceptable in terms of our public health response without requiring people to have an additional test.
The federal government urging all states to scrap PCR tests for people who already have a positive RAT test, with 5 million rapid antigen tests on the way to Tasmania as shelves are stripped bare.
The government had every opportunity to think about what Omicron would mean for Tasmania, in our health settings, in our community and our economy, and they ignored the opportunity to think about how they could prepare us better.
Labor releasing its COVID response plan, pushing for high-risk workplaces to be prioritised for booster shots and more testing available in the regions, claiming the government has lost control. Aged care workers left in the dark, unable to access free rapid antigen tests.
They do obviously care dearly for those that they look after on a daily basis and care for, and anything like this as a possible circuit breaker to give them some confidence when they come into the workplace is a good thing.
If the public health direction requires that people working in high-risk settings, for example aged care settings, may require a more frequent COVID test, then again they will be provided at no cost to the employee.
The rising case numbers pushing nursing staff to the brink.
They're dealing with increased pressures around workloads and short staffing, which were already a concern prior to borders opening on the 15th of December. That's having a considerable impact on their morale.
While traffic controllers at testing sites are being abused on a daily basis.
We've had vehicles drive at our TCs. We've had things thrown out of the vehicles, people getting out of their vehicles and abusing our traffic controllers. So as a whole, it's been pretty bad.
And King Island is experiencing its own Omicron outbreak, with case numbers rising to 60 after a super spreader event. People are being urged not to travel there. Elizabeth O'Neill, 7 Tasmania News.
And a Launceston woman has died after being struck by a car on the Milland Highway near Brighton. It's the second time in 3 years a pedestrian has been hit in the area, with police describing the incident as devastating.
What's typically a busy traffic thoroughfare quickly turned into the scene of a pedestrian fatality overnight.
Tragically, prior to police arrival, that 37-year-old female from the Launceston area was struck by a passing vehicle and was killed at the scene.
The woman was walking with a suitcase in the northbound lane on the Midland Highway near the Brighton bypass when devastation struck shortly after 10 o'clock.
We believe the female may have walked from around the Rosetta area, anywhere between the time of 8 p.m. until approximately 10 p.m.
A teenager was behind the wheel along with 2 passengers who managed to escape uninjured.
The driver of the vehicle is a 19-year-old male and he's assisting police with their inquiries.
The latest life claimed after a man was killed walking in a similar area on New Year's Day back in 2019.
This is a tragic event for everyone involved. The family of the lady who was involved, of course the driver, those first responders.
Prompting a reminder from those on the front line.
We just urge people please to take care. If you're walking on the roadway, please consider your location.
Police are now calling for anyone who witnessed the incident to come forward as they try to piece together how the tragedy came to be. Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News.
More than $1 million worth of specialised aircraft will take to the Tasmanian skies to fight fires this summer. The new fleet was officially launched today as local pilots undertook a vital training simulation in preparation.
They're the eyes in the sky, ready to battle a blaze from above. fleet makes up 12 of the firefighting aircraft that will support crews on the ground this season. Ash Hogan is just one of many behind the controls.
Yeah, I've been flying since a little kid. That's the only thing I wanted to do, and to be putting out fires and helping the community is, it's great to be a part of.
With 15 years of experience under his belt, he joined a number of pilots involved in a training simulation near Colebrook.
Depending on the situation, it can get quite hairy at times, but everyone's well aware of what has to happen.
It's critical not only for the pilots to understand the terrain and the areas they're operating in, but also for our ground crews as well to understand the risks of working around aircraft as well.
Supported by Tasmania Fire Service crew in the operation.
My job's to coordinate the aircraft movements in and around the fire. So that's done in conjunction with the ground crew.
The boost to the lineup includes 8 helicopters and 4 fixed wing planes.
We use what they call a rapid wave of attack, where we use extended ground forces but support them with these aerial operations, and the idea being that we're hitting fires early and we're hitting them hard.
All backed by a joint initiative between the state and federal governments.
In addition to the 20 other aircraft in the state, gives us 32 aircraft that are now strategically placed right around Tasmania for the upcoming season.
Following a horror 2018-19 bushfire season, the new weapons will be a major asset to enhance safety.
They support obviously our ground crews as well, and one without the other would struggle, but the combination of the two things is very effective, and they do help save lives for sure.
Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News.
She's only just starting Year 9, but Lily Meldrum is already proving to be a world beater in the sport of snooker. She'll represent Tasmania at the Women's World Championships next month after honing her craft under the same roof where Ron Atkins once trained.
Snooker has a satisfying sound. These clinks and clips are what Lily Meldrum fell in love with when she took on the sport aged 9.
I made the quarterfinals for my first competition, and that's when I realised that I could play well.
Now 13, Lily's rapid rise sees her heading to England to play for the world title next month.
It's very nerve-wracking because you never know how good your opponents are going to be.
She's been practising under the same lights legendary Tasmanian Ron Atkins once perfected his craft at Launceston's Workers Club. Coach Graham Pickett says she's a model student with the patience needed to play at the highest level.
Perfect cue action, and she just got the right temperament for it. You know, she's just composure, the whole thing.
After each hour, you just get better and better.
And it shows. Lily already holds Tasmania's women's title and 2 national under-12 crowns. She's keeping level-headed. Going up against the globe's best in snooker mad England is going to be by far her biggest challenge yet.
I'm trying my best to win at least one game.
She's already streets ahead of anyone her age.
Once in a lifetime sort of thing for most people. But for Lily, I'd say this won't be the end of it.
Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
Young Tasmanians are being given the opportunity to learn about motorbike safety with the full gear training program coming to Launceston. 14 bike riders have chosen to take part in the Northern Tasmanian trial.
First things that we'll talk about is certainly safe riding techniques that will actually complement their actual motorcycle rider training that they will be doing to get their licence as well.
Training these 14 people in getting their motorcycle licence, they'll be provided with the cost even of having the test, and $400 toward safety gear including a helmet.
It follows the successful trial of the program in Glenorchy.
A forgettable game for the Hobart Hurricanes in Adelaide. The night was summed up by an inexplicable run-out which left Peter Hanscom and Darcy Short at the same end.
It's structurally... Oh, trouble. Big trouble. Hanscom's going to be sacrificed. Oh, that was just disarray.
Peter Siddle was superb for the Strikers, taking 5 for 23. The underdone Canes were down to just 2 specialist bowlers after Riley Meredith was struck by illness after bowling only 1 over. The Hurricanes lost by 7 wickets and are due to play the Brisbane Heat on Saturday night. COVID has decimated the Jack Jumpers, leaving them unable to field a team for 2 upcoming games. 10 players and coaches are infected, with the club unsure how the virus infiltrated the squad. A club built off the mantra, fear the sting, has been stung.
A couple of the coaching staff are positive, and I think it's now 9 players.
meaning there's now not enough to field a team. The NBL requires at least 8 fit players to be on court.
There's a few with a scratchy throat and a few other things, but ultimately they're very mild symptoms.
Local fans wanting to see Saturday's blockbuster against the Sydney Kings in Hobart will have to wait. Those with tickets are being contacted for refunds. An away game against the South East Melbourne Phoenix is also being postponed. There's no certainty when they'll be played, but
it's more likely that it'll be at some time in the near future than towards the end of the season.
The club isn't sure how the outbreak began, although it could have come from the clash against Melbourne United. Players Will Magnay and Jock Perry had already been in isolation. The club says there was no leakage from them.
Definitely not. They hadn't attended training since they went into isolation. They've been in the same house together. They actually officially come out of isolation today once they're medically cleared.
There's no talk of clubs going into hubs like in the Big Bash. All Jack Jumpers players are double jabbed and some have had a booster. And Turk Warrior will try to keep his unblemished record intact in tomorrow's $100,000 Tasmanian Guineas at Elwick. The 3-year-old has won from all 8 starts but is yet to prove himself over the mile. The contest is sure to be hot. Alpine Wolf has been eyeing this race for a while.
The race for this horse is the Guineas mile, $50,000 bonus from the Armadale if you happen to win it. So that's his main goal.
Turk Warrior is favourite, paying $1.40 for the win. Alpine Wolf is paying $3.20. Should be a great clash between those two, Kim.
Indeed. Thanks very much, Tom.
Good evening. 21 in Burnie today, Devonport and Launceston 19 and 17 in Hobart. 27 was the state's top in Strawn, Grove and Bushy Park, 17 and 23 in Smithton. On the close-up shows cloudy conditions over most of the state. Further out, an area of cloud is seen about Queensland with isolated thunderstorms over the tropical north. Tomorrow shows a trough slowly crossing Tasmania, extending to the mainland. East to northeasterly winds tomorrow, 30 to 40 knots, swells up to 1.5 metres in the west and south and up to 2 metres in the north. A gale warning is current for the central north and Flinders Island. A strong wind warning for Norfolk Bay, Storm Bay, West Coast, Banks Strait, Franklin Sound and the West Coast. A severe weather warning across the north of the state. Damaging winds for King Island and western and northwest coast forecast districts. A flood watch warning for the Macquarie River, Meander River, Mersey River, North Esk River and South Esk River. A warning to sheep graziers for the north, west coast, northeast and east coast forecast districts. And a road weather alert for the north, west coast, central north, east coast and the central plateau. Tomorrow's forecast now rain and a possible storm across Hobart and Huonville, Campania 26. In the north, Launceston, a possible storm with heavy falls 22 across Devonport and Georgetown. Burnie and Wynyard tomorrow 23, Strawn, rain and a possible storm. 23 across St Helens and Port Arthur and rain in Swansea. The UV forecast is extreme 12s across the state. Looking ahead to the 3-day forecast Saturday, showers mostly about the north in the afternoon. Sunday, showers about the north and west, fine elsewhere. And Monday, showers with northeast to northwest winds. Capital cities, 38 and very hot and sunny in Perth tomorrow. Adelaide 23 and sunny in Alice Springs. And currently Hobart cloudy and 17, Launceston 17 and Devonport mostly cloudy and 17. That's all in weather, Kim.
Okay, thank you, Jackie. It looks like a rotten few days ahead. Thanks very much. That is all your news for now. Thanks for joining us this evening. Good night.